Temperature check, is that good? Okay, we have agenda items.
Yeah. So we have a lot of agenda items. And this is not really a great forum to talk about them. If the things that we're going to mention are interesting to you, please come see me or Mahir after the meeting, and we will email you to put you on the CC dissent list, and you can come to our next meeting and we'll discuss it in depth. However, can I get a temperature check on the idea of a campus march? Okay.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Campus march would probably be. We're shying away from Occupy Harvest Fest right now. It has been an issue of a lot of internal controversy, but for now, we're not willing to go there. So not this weekend, but perhaps this weekend. And this is not definitive because, like I said, these are ideas that need your input to be shaped. But probably there would be sign making. It would take. It would probably only have a starting point and a starting time, and then it would just be to. I hate the phrase "raise awareness" because it seems so static. But yeah, it would be a good dress rehearsal for our next trip to New York, which is tentatively November 5th, Guy Fawkes Day, though I think some people are going down on Halloween. Temperature check on anyone who wants to attend Occupy Wall Street next time we organize a trip. Okay. Temperature check on the idea of coordinating with Wesleyan or other NESCAC schools to get a bus. Okay. Also, photo project. I know some of you in this room have photos from this weekend, and I know you're just waiting for me to get down on my knees and beg you to send them to the account. But we're going to do a photo project. There's some up already on the walls over there. And we're trying to do larger scale installations around campus. So if you have photos or are going to take photos of either Occupy Wall Street or Occupy New London, send them to ccdissent@gmail.com and you might see them plastered on the wall somewhere. Finally, temperature check on a contingent of con students to supplement the Occupy New London movement downtown. Yeah, how many people have already been there? Can we just get a couple of impressions? I'd like them from outside CC Dissent, like no offense. Anyone who's been to Occupy New London that's outside of CC Dissent and can share something about their experience there?
I mean, yeah, there's a small group that gathers in New London, and there are not that many con students coming, but when they see us, they're really happy because they believe that the youth has the power to change something, and they bring all the energy. And there's a lot of positive attitude, like people that are just driving by, a lot of people come for like wave or show peace signs, and there are people who don't agree with it as well. But I would say there's a lot more positive attitude than negative.
How big is the group that's been meeting?
20? Around 20. Yeah.
So it's a little bit upper.
Yeah. And they really want con students to come. I mean, they really want the youth to be like in this movement because, I mean, yeah, they believe that we have the power to change something.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
No, what I wanted to say is that the times we've been there, we've realized that the space of where the whale tail is, it's pretty small. Like, for example, if in this moment all of us go, it would seem pretty full, and it would have a big impact on the people passing by. We already have the signs that were made for the people who went to New York, so it's very easy if we just come up with like a day in which we go and support these people. Most of them are old people who have been there because they have felt their life rejuvenated by this and ideologically by this movement. But I think that it will have a bigger impact if we go there. And I think we'll talk about maybe like a march. Were you going to talk about that downtown?
Direct response.
Yeah. Also, we spoke to them and they said that they're going to be there as long as they can, but the energy is dying down a little bit. So it would really rejuvenate the group of people if we went there with a bunch of signs. We led chants. We came up with different ways to protest because we don't want the movement to die out in New London. And it's really important to raise local awareness. Because in New York there are thousands of people, but there are still people who don't know about the movement, and have it very present in New London with people who aren't as connected to New York City would make a big difference, I think. So.
I'm just curious, have you invited the Occupy New London folks to the college?
It's under discussion.
Yeah, we're coordinating with them if we can have a march which either starts from here or goes past here, and which is inclusive of the entire New London, Groton, Mystic community, because there's an Occupy Mystic also, and Occupy New Haven as well. Direct response?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Direct response?
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that also they did. We talked to one of the ladies who's organizing it, and she said that she was going to close her account in Bank of America that day as an act of protest, something that has been done also in New York. And so we also thought about when talking to her maybe having like a collective closing of accounts in the bank for people that are willing to. She thought that it would be really powerful for her to go with other people. And yeah, basically, I just want to ditto Sav in the sense that we shouldn't just go there to New York and observe how interesting it is and learn a lot from it, and then come back here and live our normal standard lives. And we live here all the time in New London, and these are the people that like look at us as the wealthy college students up the hill. So we need to like do something about it, and one of the best ways is demonstrating them that they have a lot of support here and that we are not just the wealthy kids up the hill from New London.
Professor Grande?
Yeah, I just would say that one thing that really struck me about Occupy Wall Street was kind of this notion that the reason, the response to the critique is they don't have this kind of statement of demands, is to encourage a localizing of the issues that are on Wall Street to your local community. And I think we're kind of in this moment at the college. I just came from a meeting where, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but even so, it doesn't matter. Where that bifurcation of, full fee-paying students versus students on financial aid. I mean, the college itself is trying to figure out its own situatedness in this crisis. What's going to happen to Con College? What's going to happen to what we teach, how we do business here, from the impact on Wall Street? So I think it's a real moment. I like the idea of coalition always. I like the idea of an Occupy Con College that is kind of an expression of coalition, but also how is this impacting right here, like on our campus, between as the college itself bumps up against the economic crisis, and what does it mean to have half of our community, half of the student community, be full fee paying, half of the students being on financial aid. What does that mean? And how can we as a community press the college as it makes these really difficult choices of how it's going to move itself through the financial crisis?
Okay. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I just have a question to pose for anyone to answer.